Kong 360 3D. I was a little apprehensive about our meeting with the big guy. He was feeling a little sick earlier today. A little touch of the Skull Island flu. We had to reroute a few trams, but he seems to be back up and in fine form. On your screens, we'll take a look at how the big guy returned to us here on the back lot in July of 2010. Of course, this attraction is completely new work of Peter Jackson and his team. Academy Award winner, they won 5 Academy Awards for such films as Lord of the Rings trilogy, Avatar, and of course King Kong. You will not need your 3D glasses for the remainder of the tour. Just hang on to them. We'll collect them at the tour's end.
With a project like the studio tour, the audience is in the middle of the environment. They're looking in all directions. There's creatures coming at them. They're seeing Kong from this side and T-Rexes from the other side.
Working on a movie, we always know where the people are looking. They're looking straight ahead. They're looking at the shot that they're working on.
Here you have to take into account that people are looking in all directions.
Also, one of the things about this ride, unlike the movies that we're used to working on, there's no cuts because it's one giant shot. And this tram that's driving along through Skull Island is where the camera's from. This ring represents where the screen is 10 meters away.
We're really creating about 50 minutes of a feature film. That amount of visual information, that number of pixels, and presenting them to the audience, it's a hell of a ride.
Now, King Kong is one of our most recognizable big screen icons, but in just a moment we're going to show you a few more. Coming up on our left will be some vehicles, and they are known as picture cars. As we start our approach, I'll put a few on your screens for you. Now, a picture car is any vehicle on a set that can be seen by the camera. Some of these vehicles have become just as famous as the stars who have driven them. And over the years, our picture cars have grown bigger, badder, and faster as movie audiences have embraced their need for speed. A lot of good ones here. The Deathmobile from Animal House, Magnum PI's Ferrari. Of course, one of the most famous picture cars of them all, one of the DeLoreans, is there from Back to the Future. And speaking of our picture cars growing bigger, badder, and faster, in just a moment we're going to take you behind the scenes of our Fast and the Furious films to give you a little special effects demonstration of all the picture cars. Making your way into special effects stage 55, it's been decked out Tokyo style. Our special effects team has been hard at work prepping the set and picture cars for today's special.
God damn.
Clear on the set. Let's see the bullet hits. And go. Smoke. Go. Fire. Go. Okay, we're clear for a full run through. All systems checked. This one's for real, guys, so watch out. And action.
Right on me.
Motion control and effects. Always take a bow. Very nice. You guys got any other moves? We'll go from the streets of Tokyo to an island off the coast of Costa Rica.
Welcome to Jurassic Park.
That's right, welcome to Jurassic Park. You'll see many of the set pieces and vehicles from Jurassic Park and the Lost World Jurassic Park, both of which star Jeff Goldblum. A lot of nice vehicles here. On our left, currently we're passing by the big camouflage RV. This is the mobile lab unit in the Lost World Jurassic Park. In front of that, a converted Humvee with swing chairs on the side, helping ride a few dinosaurs. Also, wait a minute.
Oh! Oh, he got me. He got me.
Nothing is ever truly extinct here in Hollywood.
Oh, finally.
Speaking of that, there has been talk of a fourth Jurassic Park film in development. Sounds like the dinos could be returning to the big screen sometime in the not-too-distant future. We'll just have to wait and see. Here's a quick look at one of the set pieces in action from the Lost World Jurassic Park. This is the vehicle we passed by, the mobile lab unit. Now, this cliff, it's going to look like it's hanging off of a treacherous, sheer cliff, when in actuality, it's one of our parking structures here in the lot that was distressed to look like a sheer cliff. Yes, very nice. And here's the other vehicle. A converted Humvee with the swing chairs during the Dino Roundup. We're going to continue on down south, guys, here on the back lot to an area called Old Mexico, used in numerous productions throughout the years, most recently on the big screen in Hop with Russell Brand as the voice of E.B. Rabbit, also in our NBC series Community with Joan Cale and Chevy Chase. And since we're a little bit from our dino friends, we'll go ahead and have a weather effects demonstration. We'll call upon my good friend, the Today Show's Al Roper, to give us our weather forecast.
Hi, everybody. Here's today's forecast for the Universal Backlot. It's going to be sunny and dry at 6 Points, Texas. Cool and cloudy in Little Europe. Expect snow and sleet on New York Street. And we've got a high chance of fog and precipitation for Skull Island, Amity Island, and Island. That's your forecast for today. Now here's a look at what's going on in your neck of the woods.
All right, what do you got for us? All right, I don't think it'll be quite that bad, but thank you. Cut the anyway, here comes your weather. All right, this is a little thunder and audio effects done for speakers. And of course, there is your rain. Sprinklers high overhead, shoot water up into the air, the water comes right back down. Gives you the illusion of falling rain. So, no matter how many consecutive days of sunshine we might have here in the city, we can make
it's coming for us!
But now we're hitting it flash plus time, and here comes the water.
Woo!
And there you have it. Using the feature phone call, take that fire. I'm ranking you as big bodies. Amity and his stuntman getting a little bit of that scene. Now we make our way out of Old Mexico. We're going to be taking a turn onto Denver Street. Denver Street, one of our Western sets. These days it sets pretty quiet. We don't really film Westerns anymore. But years ago, during our Western heyday, really one of the busiest spots on our lot. One thing I always think about traveling down Denver Street are the fight scenes that once took place here between the cowboys, all the big shootouts and punch-outs. That's to travel through. We'll take a look at a few.
stir things up here. That I am.
Dare you hit that man?
Mine hit the ground first. Mine was taller.
Mine was taller. Two great cowboys in the last part of that clip from the film The War Wagon, Kirk Douglas and none other than the greatest cowboy of them all, Mr. John Wayne. Speaking of John Wayne, he actually got his start in the entertainment industry many, many years ago as a frontman under director John Ford, except back then he was known by a different name. His real one, Marion Morrison. He never legally had it changed. Most of got used to people calling him John or the Duke. After all, he played 37 characters named John, 7 named Duke. Believe it or not, none named Marion. Not quite sure what happened there. Anyway, we're going to make our way off of Denver Street, and coming up on the right, we're going to catch just a little section of an area known as Little Europe. As the statement implies, it is our European sets. The first 3 Disney Pirates of the Caribbean movies with Johnny Depp shot there. Also 2 more recent productions, 2 series from HBO, Curb Your Enthusiasm with Larry David, and True Blood with Adam Franklin. Right now, we're going to have a chance to head into
Yeah, we're moving fast.
backlot stages. We're entering stage 50. It's kind of special. One of the only multi-level stages in the world. In early 2010, it was used to film part of an episode of the Fox series Bones. David Boreanaz and Emily Deschanel.
Look, they're sweet.
He looks very upset.
Oh, I talked to him, so the guy's in his arms.
This with the FBI?
FBI, yeah. Hear about the remains.
That's him. Right over there.
You alright?
As you can see, stage 50 is still dressed like a subway station, just like it was in the episode of Bones. That's because the subway setup here is actually about 80 or 90% permanent. There's a few things we can change, but generally this is pretty much always how it was.
Here we go.
second and final of our Western sets here on the Universal Backlot. We're heading into 6 Points, Texas. All of our famous movie cowboys and most of you here at one time or another. Talking about guys like John Wayne, Jimmy Stewart, and Clint Eastwood. Right now we'll take a look at one of our more recent Westerns to have shot here in 6 Points.
So you mount up and get out of town while the getting's good.
All right. Well, I'll see you again, fella.
Or you can count on me, fella. Again.
This is the beginning of a beautiful friendship.
We just have to talk it out, that's all.
Now, unlike the Metropolitan set with Jimmy Fallon that was green screen, this one was actually shot in 6 Points, Texas. This area gets the name 6 Points, Texas because many, many years ago in our silent filmmaking days, we could shoot 6 movies in here at the same time. Just because each street looked like a different town. Each street had its own bank, its own sheriff's station, its own saloon, and its own hotel. Didn't have to worry about sound bleeding over from one production to the next. Again, early on, we were recording sounds that worked quite well. Here's one last look at a few of our famous Western stars. It is a quite warm day, as I'm sure you've noticed walking around the theme parks. I think you can head up the hill and go for a nice, refreshing swim at beautiful Amity Island, everyone's favorite vacation destination here in the Universal Backlot. Now, don't worry about the giant shark that terrorized Amity for all those years. Word has come to us, local fishermen at Amity, they finally caught that bad boy. In fact, I believe them strung up alongside the dock. Check that out here in a moment. And as an added measure of protection, they dispatched Officer George of the Amity PD into the water to make sure everything is safe so you can go for a nice, refreshing afternoon swim. In fact, the citizens of Amity wanted me to play a special promotional video here just to show you that everything's back on the up and up. People are boating and putting up signs, I guess, more boating, swimming, getting eaten by sharks. But wait a minute, no, this actually, all right, this footage should not be here. Someone must have spliced this in as a joke. So they had little trouble with that pesky shark. They had to close the beach for a while. But here's some of the footage of the victorious fishermen. And there's the expedition heading underwater. And with that, I'll turn things over once again to Jimmy Fallon, who had a chance to sit down with Jaws recently.
The world-famous shark who played Jaws. Here to talk about what it was like making that movie in the 70s, and what it's like being a shark today in Hollywood. First off, I'm a huge fan. Thanks for sitting down with us today. Now, one of the legends of this film is that there was tension between you and the director, Steven Spielberg.
Yes, Jaws, a shark of a few words, and apparently seems like Jimmy Fallon cannot get a word out of him. This was his last interview before he passed away. There's his carcass over there on the right-hand side. So that leaves us a chance to, wait a minute. You know what, guys, they might have caught the wrong shark. Look at the size of that dorsal fin. That's our police dog, Officer George, out of the water. Officer George, get out of the water. It's coming right for you, buddy. Get out of there. This is not going to happen. Oh, that's disgusting. All right, guys, we lost Officer George. He just became a George Kebab. All right, we're going to pull down here behind the dock. It should be a little safer. They have some bait attached. That big yellow barrel out there. Hopefully the shark will be shot. Decide not to watch it by us. If he dries over. All right, we're going to make this on the way there. Very nice. Let it just stop. So with a line break or something, wow, the line broke all right. Just broke the gas line. It wasn't hot enough. All right, guys, the fire is spreading. I think we're going to have to... Wait a minute. Look out! Oh, here we come.
That's much of a line shark. The shark was frustrating. It didn't really work all the time. It didn't work hardly at all.
Wherever you were on the island, you could hear the radio mics. They were always saying, "The shark is not working. Repeat, the shark is not working."
We just waited around. We just waited and waited and waited. the shark worked well enough for a while there. It had the music. Shark a lot.
Now, fans of Jaws will be thrilled to know that a fully restored, digitally remastered version of Jaws will be available for the first time on Blu-ray. Continue on from Jaws' lair. Coming up on the right, a great big house called the Chicken Ranch, used somewhat recently on the CBS series The Mentalist with Simon Baker. More recently, it's been used for NBC pilot Mockingbird Lane. Mockingbird Lane, a reimagining of The Munsters, classic 60s TV series. This time around, we'll star Jerry O'Connell, Eddie Izzard, and Portia de Rossi. So here on the right, you'll kind of see a new version the Munster House here on the Universal back lot. We'll check it out again here momentarily, but for right now, we're going to take a turn down to Colonial Street, which for the last 8 years was known as Wisteria Lane, over the Desperate Housewives of ABC.
If there is one thing everyone in suburbia can appreciate, it's a good neighbor.
What the heck? Let's do that.
That I get a lot up here on Colonial Street is, do they actually film inside of the houses? The answer to that question for the most part is no. Usually they build the interiors inside some of our front lot stages and shoot them there. They have more control over lighting and sound that way and more space.
Next morning, Edie Britt decided to announce her return to Wisteria Lane.
Okay, you're not going to believe this, but she's back.
Edie, is that really you? You know someone else my age with blood hair like this? So what happened to your tenants? We came into some money and decided to move. You thought, what the heck? Let's do that. We? Oh, you don't know. I have a husband now. Really? Whose?
Yes, very nice. Out of that, we'll go from one crazy community to another. Next up, some of the sets from Whoville, from Dr. Seuss's How the Grinch Stole Christmas, directed by Ron Howard, of course starring Jim Carrey as the Grinch. On the way there, a little insight into the film from director Ron Howard.
It's challenging because the logistics were challenging. We had 11 stages occupied at one time on the Universal lot. One of them was just for putting Who's into their makeup every day. And so I felt like it was one of those extravaganzas from the 30s or 40s. Sets that were inspired by Dr. Seuss, brought to life, made functional enough that, you know, we could shoot on them, actors could climb on them, people could do flips off them. And it makes me so proud that it's become this kind of evergreen, and that every Christmas it rolls around and it means something to a lot of kids.
And up next on the left-hand side is where the Whoville sets will be. We're going to squeeze in for a closer look, so we'll actually be passing them by on the right-hand side here momentarily. For the film, we used over 2 million linear feet of styrofoam to help build all the sets. So you see here just a small sample after the tour. We'll also see some of the Whoville cars. They are transformed golf carts from off of our lot, so they are mobile. I don't think I would take them out on the freeway or anything, but you can get around in them. They do move. Mr. Howard mentioned the production was quite enormous. 11 front lot stages used, also a good portion of our back lot. They were all over the place. And what would a holiday movie be without candy canes? For the film, we used 1,938 of them. Not too shabby. For the poor citizens of Whoville, not only do they have to deal with the mean old Grinch, they also had a next-door neighbor who was a real psycho. I'm sure you heard of him, Norman Bates. As here we are at the Bates Motel, off the distance, the Psycho House, two of the oldest freestanding sets in all of Hollywood. Now we'll stop here to... Wait a minute. looks like Norman back on the prowl here at the Bates Motel. Let's see, packing up for a trip or something there. No, he's picking up right where I left off all those years ago. Yeah, sorry guys, this is quite disturbing there. Got the body all wrapped up in the shower curtain. Yeah, well, hopefully we're not interrupting his plans for the day, whatever they are. I don't really care for that look. And I don't really care for that night. You know, it's probably best if we just check on out of the Bates Motel. Alright, gang, we're leaving Norman behind. When we pass the Psycho house, you can wait for the mother in the upstairs window in the front of the house. From there, we'll head right into another fantastic set, the incredible crash site, Steven Spielberg's version of War of the Worlds. Take you right to the heart of that classic set. Stop the tram for some great pictures. Have your cameras ready. Of the neighborhood where Tom Cruise hides out in the film. And in case you're wondering, yes, that is an actual Boeing 747 destroyed specifically for this incredible scene. Here to tell you a little more about the carnage that you see all around you will be Rick Carter, production designer for War of the Worlds. We'll also hear from director Steven Spielberg.
The airplane crash site set is a perfect example of a set that is all designed around the vision that Steven had.
When you first began to sit down and talk about the War of the Worlds, I thought, what if the 747 goes down right in a big neighborhood? Because it's just something you don't see.
You're doing good. You're doing good. Keep your eyes on me. That's it. Yeah, listen, close your eyes, okay? Okay. Got them closed?
Robbie, get in. Get in. Now this is one of the largest sets ever constructed, but despite the use of the life-size realistic set pieces, the film did feature over 500 effect shots. That's more than Mr. Spielberg has ever used before. And speaking of Mr. Spielberg, we'll make our way back out onto Steven Spielberg Drive. As we do so, coming up on the right-hand side, a great big cabinet built for this late 80s comedy. You have the cabin built for the great outdoors during the late great John Candy and Dan Aykroyd, a very underrated comedy in my opinion. Now back beyond the cabin, you can't help but see that big green backdrop. That is the largest freestanding backdrop in all of Hollywood. That and a concrete basin currently full of water. In front of it is an area known as Falls Lake. On your screens, a few still photos of how the Falls Lake area is used. Basically, they can turn that into any sort of environment they need. An ocean, a desert, a swamp, you name it. They can put any background they want along the backdrop, any material they want in the big concrete basin out front. Many times it is used for oversized blue screen and green screen filming. We'll see a sample from Bruce Almighty with Jim Carrey and Morgan Freeman. They discuss the scene, and they go for a stroll. In the final version of the film, they're walking on water right up there at Falls Lake. Here's a few more productions to have shot in this area. Using Jaws the Revenge, that was part 4 of the Jaws series.
What the?
Apollo 13 for this flashback sequence. Nice shot there from Van Helsing. A little more Bruce Almighty. And Brother Art Thou. And one of the more recent productions to have shot in that area, Disney's Pirates of the Caribbean on Stranger Tides, starring Johnny Depp. One of that, guys, that'll pretty much wrap it up for us on the tour today as we start to head back.